What's up, everybody? You're back with The Chosen Khan. And today in the studio, we have with us Miss Kamal Dylan, someone that I hold in very, very high regard. So you want to say hi to the people listening?
Hi, everyone.
So I want to talk about a couple of different things that we touched on the podcast. The first thing was how we met. And so do you want to talk about how did we meet?
We met at a women's conference.
Yep.
And you, as one of the brave men, came and sat in the audience and listened.
Well, I just wanted tips on like what hair products to use. So that's why I was like, guys, my hair has been pretty bad lately. So that's why I showed up and I learned a lot more things. But so
you certainly didn't learn anything about hair from me.
I didn't learn anything from hair, no.
But no, it was really amazing to see you as a young man stand up for women.
I appreciate that, Kamal. But when I went there, I really didn't know what to expect. And listening to your story, right, it was just a glimpse of your story. But it really affected me because you raised a lot of points. Well, what was the question that you asked when you started?
I began with, what does an abuser look like? And in your mind, what does or what should a victim look like?
How can you answer that, right? A lot of people, in their minds, maybe they think of someone like physically abused. We've touched on this in the podcast as well. But there's different variations of abuse, right? What were the ones we touched on?
There's a lot of different ones. An abuser, what does he look like? He's the most charming man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Could be very manipulative, can look like they're the kindest person ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Who opens the door for strangers, who greets them. But behind closed doors, they're monsters.
100%.
And so, the other question that I ask is, what does a victim look like? In your mind, what should she look like? Should she be cut up and be black and blue to convince you that she's been abused? Because abuse isn't just physical. There's a lot of hidden abuses that we don't talk about or we don't acknowledge, but it's lifelong.
And what other abuses are there? What would you say?
There's mental, psychological, there's sexual abuse, there's cultural abuse, there's addictions, there's all sorts of things that, withholding finances, withholding sex, withholding,
a lot of things,
hurting
passion.
your pets, your family, the threats. And how do you show that to somebody?
Yeah, that's what we discussed in the podcast, and you really there's so many things that have really hit home with me. One thing as well in regards to abuse is, as a victim, we talked about shame, right? And what happens when you are a victim, right? How do people treat you, right? In our society, what we discussed how if you're going through something, it's like keep it at home.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It does, or it doesn't exist, or you brought it upon yourself.
That's right. There's always the victim blaming. We must have done something to deserve that.
Yeah.
Because why else would your husband beat you?
Yeah, you must have talked. You must have spoken too much. You must have said something. You must have not cooked right, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We talked about your book, Black and Blue Sorry.
Yeah.
Right? Why did you end up deciding on that title?
Black and Blue came about. If you've read my book, you would know that throughout that book and throughout my 12-and-a-half-year journey with this man, with my husband, it was a theme. Almost every day there was something. There was a bruise, there was a cut, and every day after the incident, there was a covering for him. I covered so that he'd be protected. And so, from that bruises, the black and blue, became the covering, the sari.
That's a very, very, very powerful title. When I saw that, I was like, wow, this is genius. Right away. Then I started reading it, and then I was like, this is, again, something that most people don't hear of. Or it's like a horror story in their mind, or it can't be real.
Yeah.
Right?
It can't be that bad.
Yeah, it's not
because you stayed.
Yeah. Oh, okay, we didn't talk about that on the podcast, but yeah, you stayed. Yeah, if it was really that. But what happened when you did go to your father?
When I did go, first time in my life, some years later, I did go to my dad.
Well, what had happened? You had been abused again.
I was beaten in a parking lot, and when the police arrived, he threatened to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a couple of charges, and he was in jail for 2 nights. And then I went to my dad's, and when my husband was released, he came to my dad's house. And after talking, as I mentioned, he was a charmer.
Mm-hmm.
So he convinced my dad how much he loved me.
Yeah.
And how bad of a person I was. So my dad told me to go back with him. And at the end, he said, yeah, baby, I'll come for you. I'll come get you one day. I'll come for your body. Because it was more honorable for him to have his daughter dead than alive.
And that's something that it leaves me at a loss for words, even during the podcast when you brought that up. Like honor, you talked about that a lot. You talked about protecting a woman's honor, and you just listened and you followed all the rules, and this is where it led you to.
Yeah, it's really protecting the parents' honor. There's nothing we do that convinces them otherwise. And so the honor is really for them.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, I have broken bones in my body because I kept that honor for them.
Yeah, you kept that honor for them, and you talked about how you have your jaw and you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I've had 10 jaw surgeries, multiple. I have an artificial jaw. I don't feel my face, even my eyesight, because he tried to gouge my eye out. I don't see clearly. And this is something that I will live with for the rest of my life. I have ongoing surgeries, and there's more scheduled. But as we talked earlier, none of this defines who I am.
You are not a victim.
No.
We talked about that. You are not 100%.
I will not keep that title or make someone make me feel re-victimized, because I'm over that.
Yeah, you move, and that's what I love. It gives me so much hope, and it just brings me like for me, when I think about it, it's like you discussed your family and how much you've changed them, your daughters and your sons, and how much of an impact you've made on their lives, a positive impact, how much of a positive impact you made on my life and all these other people that you've spoken to, and I really believe that, and this is what I wanted to talk about during the video, was that you need more people need to hear you. More people need to see you.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is not a woman's issue. Yeah. This is not where I go into a small group of, secluded women's homes. I've taken my message to Ottawa. I've gone to the World Bank in Washington. I've done quite a bit, even by changing some policies in Ottawa. But we still need to do more. We can't just talk when an event happens, when a tragedy happens, and we get together and say, oh, how bad it was. And then we forget about it until the next time.
Yeah, 100%. It gets to a boiling point. Oh, my God, yeah, we got to do something. Oh, okay, then we forget about it or sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
So for the people that are watching, what's one way, or I guess different types of ways that they could help you?
Right. Right now, I do everything myself. I travel, I most often pay my own fare to go to places to speak, because the people that need to hear this message the most are the ones that can't afford it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm asking people to partner with me, either through just helping me to book, talks, or to even offer air miles. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm asking doesn't always mean money, that I'm asking money. There's so many ways. And if you go to my website, there's ways of getting involved. It's called kamaldillon.com. Mm-hmm. And, this is a message for schools, for our young children, for bullying. And you'll hear from my daughter who talks about bullying. Mm-hmm. And to partner with me means that you're actually agreeing that we need to stop this happening to our children, to our grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so I want the dialogue to continue.
And you said something to end off. You said something that basically no one cares until it hits home.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that's when it's too late.
Exactly.
Right? We have to prevent this. We have to stop this before that happens.
Yeah. And, it's funny because there's a lot of people who have no idea what their daughters are going through. And their daughters have shared with me. And the only reason a lot of these people can get together in public and still show their face is because I saved their lives. I helped them to see the light.
At the end of the day, you're helping a lot of people see light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's a very powerful thing that you're doing, and I love that. And that's why I'm really glad that you came on the show, right? Because I want more and more people to hear about this. It's not a woman's issue only, right? Men need to understand that, you know what, we have to listen, right? We have to sit down, we need to go, and we have to realize that we have to move forward together.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. It's not going to be, okay, just one group is... you see how that always ends up. Like, men are like, we're going to save the world. And now look where the world's at right now.
Exactly.
Right? So, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Kamal.
Thank you.
Right? For everybody that's watching, we're going to have all of our links below your website. Please read Black and Blue Sorry. For me, it was very eye-opening. And that's... I need a lot of people do need to see that, right? And then the new book is coming out. I am Kamal.
Yes.
That's going to come out soon, so we're going to have that in the link below too. And you know what? I think it's just the beginning of this new journey, right? It's another, not even a chapter. It's like you're making a new book. It's another book.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Yes.
Right? You went through all that, but like you said, it does not define you.
That's right.
Right? Those scars that you have, they're not like that. They're what make you beautiful. You went through it and you survived, and now you're helping a lot of other people realize that, you know what, we have to move forward.
That's right.
And so I appreciate that. Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you.
All right. So everybody, thank you for checking out the show, and stay tuned. We have a lot more episodes coming out soon. So peace. Thank you for watching our videos. Your support really means a lot to us. Check out our podcast and honestly check out the other conversations we've been having as well.